that meeting electronically is necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in light of the COVID-19 outbreak. Are there any objections? I'll also note that today's meeting is being broadcast by Metro Nashville Network on Facebook Live. So at this time, I will take the board members, I will poll the board members to see who is here. Beginning with Director Atkins.
I'm here.
Thank you. Director Bim.
I'm here.
Morning. Director Deering.
Here.
Here.
Director Duncan.
Here.
Director Duncan.
Here.
Good morning.
Here.
Director Farner. Director Farner. Director Gill.
Present.
Morning. Director Glassmeyer.
Present.
Present.
Vice Chair Harrison. Vice Chair Harrison. Are you here? Okay. Director Hogan.
Here.
Here.
Morning. Director McGee. Director McGee. Director Page. And Secretary Wynn.
Here.
Here.
Good morning.
Morning.
Consideration of the minutes from the January 21st, 2021 meeting is the first item on our agenda. We have a relatively brief agenda today. So on Friday, you received the SharePoint link, which included minutes from the January meeting. Are there any questions or comments?
Motion for approval.
Questions or comments? If not, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. The motion has been moved and second. Any discussion? If not, we'll approve by roll call. All in favor? Director Atkins?
Aye.
Aye.
Director Bim?
Aye.
Aye.
Director Deering?
Aye.
Aye.
Director Duncan?
Aye.
Aye.
Director Farner? Director Gill?
Yes.
Yes.
Director Glassmeyer?
Aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair Harrison? Director Hogan?
Aye.
Aye.
Director McGee? Director Page? And Secretary Wynn?
Aye.
Thank you. The minutes have been unanimously approved. Next on our agenda, we have our executive director's report. So at this time, we're going to ask Monica Faulknoxon, our executive director, to give us her report.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. You have the agenda before you. Following my report, the board will receive reports from the personnel and the finance committees and the Mls Stadium update and DBE participation report. There will also be an opportunity for facility questions from the members of the authority. It's a pretty short and straightforward agenda. Are there any questions? If not, I do want to give the board an update on the reimbursement of project management fees to the Arena Revenue Fund. This is something that for the last couple of years we've been discussing. Melissa has been working with Phil Carr, Metro's chief accountant, on the reconciliation and documentation. And Division of Accounts has approved the reimbursement of just under $966,000 back to the Arena Revenue Fund. So we are waiting for that to post, and then that piece will be resolved. I really want to thank everyone who's been involved throughout this process, and especially my team that just continues to work so hard and diligently on this.
Excuse me, Monica, may I just a moment? Frank Harrison called me and said that he is muted. He can't. He can hear, but he can't say anything. I don't know if that's a technical issue that can be solved or not. But just letting you know. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, I appreciate that. It looks like he.
Okay, I'm okay now.
Oh, great. Great.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's just in time, because that, unless there are questions, that concludes my report. Are there any questions?
Okay, thank you, Monica. Any questions from the committee, from the board for Monica?
I have a question about the status of the procurement from the Ad hoc Women in Sports Committee. What's the status of that?
So there is a solicitation request form that I'm working to fill out, and needing some additional information from procurement to do that. And so as soon as that form is completed and submitted, then we will continue to wait to hear from procurement. I think the next step, once they've approved that, would be the assignment of a buyer from the department, and then we will we'll begin the process. Thank you. I meant to give that update. Thank you, Margaret.
Thank you.
Thanks, Monica. Any other questions? If not, we will move into the Personnel Committee report. So at this time, Vice Chair Harrison, who chairs the Personnel Committee, will give the committee report. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Chair Lady. Can you hear me pretty good? Hear me pretty good?
Yes, we hear you.
Me? Okay, thank you. The Personnel Committee typically meets once a year for review of the executive director and to discuss what they may be aware of. The purpose of the meeting on yesterday, as we met at 10:30, all committee members were present, and as well as the representatives from Metro Human Resources. The committee received requests from the executive director to upgrade the open administrative position previously held by Alicia, and from an administrative services officer position to, which is commonly referred to as ASO2, Administrative Services Officer 3, which is commonly referred to as SO3, with the goal of extracting a strong candidate pool in the event of hiring someone to perform at a higher level than the duties that were there before. The director also requested a second administrative position held by Quentin. This one is to be upgraded to a ASO3 to account for the additional duties. And she hopes that this add of the position would specifically track any fixed capital assets. Total cost of the upgrade is projected to be $22,000 or maybe up to $31,000. And the request this will come before the Finance Committee for future vetting. And Personnel Committee voted unanimously to recommend approval. And so that concludes my report. Any questions? Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for that report, Vice Chair Harrison. Any comments? Great. If not, we'll move into our Finance Committee report. The Finance Committee met this morning at 9 o'clock. So we will look to hear from our committee chair, John Glassmeyer. John?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, as Kathy said, we met this morning at 9 o'clock. All our committee members were present. After approving the minutes from the November 19th, 2020 meeting, the committee received the Nashville Stadium report from Janine Kaufman and Bob Flynn. Janine reviewed the financials, noting that the Titans paid seat user fee credit will be applied to the 2021 football season. Project updates they've got going on totaling $331,000 have been added to the unfiled capital projects list and include invoices from water filtration projects and work on the boiler. In flying back to Nashville, so she's not on to talk about these things. We have any questions so far? Bob Flynn, the EVP of Facilities and Game Day Management, reported that the Nissan Stadium experienced some damage as a result of the Christmas Day explosion on 2nd Avenue. The structural engineers have been on site and none of the damage is believed to be structural. Damages that were noted include fallen ceiling tiles and a fire sprinkler rings, fallen ceiling tiles throughout the stadium, a broken window pane, and some drywall ceiling damage. Bob is on in the event anyone has any questions. All right, hearing none. And finally, Janine announced that she will be leaving the Titans organization. After 24 years, she will be consulting for some time with them. The committee and the Titans president, Bert Nihel, expressed gratitude for all that she's done for the organization and for the authority over the years. So we wish Janine well in her future endeavors and thank her for all her time. All right, the first item we had up for consideration was the committee received a request from Butch Sheridan, president of the Nashville Convention and Visitors Corporation, to adjust its annual contributions for the SEC tournament for the 2020 and 2021 years as a result of the loss of revenue from the 2020 tournament that was canceled after its first round due to COVID. NCBC will pay 50% of its $100,000 contract tournament contribution to the Sports Authority for the 2020 tournament and 60% of its contribution for the 2021 tournament. Metro Legal has drafted a side agreement between the Sports Authority and NCBC with a resolution, and the committee recommends approval. Do I have any questions? I don't believe Butch is still on, but Monica is on if anyone has any questions. All right, hearing none, Chairman, I recommend approval.
Yes. Okay. I think, is that a motion to approve?
Sorry, that is a motion for approval.
Okay. Chairman Glassmeyer has offered a motion to approve the resolution approving the agreement between the Sports Authority and the Nashville Conventions and Visitors Visitors Corporation, excuse me. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. The motion has been properly moved and properly. Is there any discussion? If not, we will vote by roll call. All in favor? Director Atkins?
Aye.
Director Bem?
Aye.
Director Deering?
Aye.
Director Duncan?
Aye.
Director Farner? Director Gill?
Yes.
Director Glassmeyer?
Aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair Harrison,
Aye.
Aye.
Director Hogan,
Aye.
Aye.
Director McGee, Director Page, Secretary Wynn.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes. Chairman Glassmeyer, will you
Yes,
continue?
ma'am. The next item up was up in front of the committee. Received a request to amend the Sports Authority lease agreement with the Nashville Sounds and also the parking agreement with the state of Tennessee as a result of lost parking revenue that the Sounds experienced in the 2020 minor league ball season. The amendment waives the Sounds' additional rent payment or maintenance contribution for the state garage for the 2020 season and adds a 1-year extension to the lease term in its place. So it's actually two parts. Margaret Darby, are you on? Do we need to do these separately? Margaret on? Monica? Margaret Darby?
It looks like she's on. Margaret, you're on mute.
I'm sorry, I was trying to unmute by using the space bar instead of the button on the screen. This is Margaret Darby, and yes, I would advise that you adopt each resolution separately.
Okay, thank
By
you.
roll call vote, sorry.
By roll call vote. All right, so the first, let me make sure I get the text right. Looking for the first part of this. So the first first motion for approval is consider approval of a resolution approving an amendment to the lease agreement between the Sports Authority and MFP Baseball LLC. So that's a motion.
Okay, thank you, Chairman Glassmeyer. There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
The motion has been made and properly seconded. Any discussion? We will vote by roll call. All in favor? Director Atkins,
Aye.
Director Bem,
Aye.
Aye.
Director Deering,
Aye.
Aye.
Director Duncan,
Aye.
Aye.
Director Farner, Director Gill,
Aye.
Aye.
Director Glassmeyer,
Aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair Harrison,
Aye.
Aye.
Director Hogan,
Aye.
Aye.
Director McGee, Director Page, Secretary Wynn.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. The motion has been unanimously approved. There's a second recommendation that goes along with the first one, and it's to approve an amendment to our parking garage lease with the state. It is important to note that the parking garage lease is an exhibit to the Sounds lease. So, Chairman Glassmeyer?
So the committee recommends to approve resolution approving an amendment to the parking garage lease in the state of Tennessee and the Sports Authority. Does anyone have any questions? All right, motion, that's the motion.
Okay, thank you. Just to repeat, the motion is to approve the resolution approving an amendment to the garage lease, and this lease is between the Sports Authority and the state of Tennessee. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? Okay, we'll vote by roll call. Director Atkins,
Aye.
Director Bem,
Aye.
Director Deering,
Aye.
Aye.
Director Duncan,
Aye.
Aye.
Director Farner, Director Gill,
Yes.
Director Glassmeyer,
Aye.
Aye.
Vice Chair Harrison,
Aye.
Aye.
Director Hogan,
Aye.
Director McGee, Director Page, Secretary Nguyen.
Aye.
Thank you. Chairman Glassmeyer?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. The next motion that was deferred was the consideration of the approval of the fiscal year 2021 position controls and ratification of the fiscal year 22 department operating budget. Monica, did you want to speak or say anything more to that?
Sure, I will. What I explained to the Finance Committee this morning is that our plan was to present the FY21 budget update and to also seek approval for our FY22 budget. And we have had many conversations with, well, obviously with the Personnel Committee yesterday, with our budget analyst, Bob Lackey, other members of the Metro Finance team, and also Human Resources as we discuss position control. But in the meantime, and especially yesterday, we're finding out more information, but essentially Metro's insurance premiums are significantly increasing for FY21, with premiums for the Sports Authority facilities almost doubling. And so there are implications clearly for this year's budget and also for next year's budget. And so I still have some questions and conversations I think that I need to have and work through before I'm comfortable bringing the current year update and presenting a budget for FY22 for consideration. So my recommendation was that we delayed the budget discussion and that we pick that back up at our March 11th meeting.
Any questions from members for Monica? All right, hearing none. Our last item was Mls Stadium update. And is Jim on? Let's see.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you are. Jim, did you want to give a update?
Kellen, I believe you're giving the overall stadium update. Is Kellen on?
I believe this is related to the singular change order on the soils.
Oh yeah, the singular change order on the soils. This is for contaminated soils that was on Metro property that in the agreements on the construction of the stadium, Metro is responsible for disposing of this particular group of contaminated soils, and with the cost you see here is for disposal of those, and this is being allocated towards the infrastructure project, and it's been budgeted as such for quite some time. And this will be a change order, a Sports Authority generated change order to Messer Mortensen, but it's going to be funded out of infrastructure.
So thank you. Questions from the board? Monica, anything else you'd like to say about this?
No, nothing else. This was really just this is an attempt to communicate. I shared with the Finance Committee that we are mindful of our commitment to communicate and to bring back any Sports Authority change orders to the board. Finance Committee Chair John Glassmeyer is attending our Development Committee meetings and approving team-related change orders through that process. But we felt it was important to bring this to the board.
Thank you, Monica. That concludes the Finance Committee report.
Okay, great. Okay. Chairman Glassmeyer, thank you for the diligence that you and your committee put into overseeing our financial piece. The report is excellent, and we appreciate all the hard work. Thank you so much. And we'll continue along those lines with a MLS Stadium update. Today, we have Mary Cabrera, who will kick us off with the MLS Stadium update, and she will be followed by Kellen DeCourcy, CAA icon, who will give the monthly DBE participation report for the stadium.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and good morning, board members. Melissa or Quentin, if you could please pull up our slides. I will provide a brief update on the stadium construction today. And so from this first photo here, you could see that we've reached another milestone in late January with the steel installation. And to orient yourselves, that the north end of the stadium is towards downtown. And if you look at the south end, you could see where the steel structures are coming up, and we've been making great progress, except for this week. But we're continuing to track overall with our schedule. And if you could advance to the next slide, please. This provides another view of the steel work down near the crane. From this view, you can also see some of the concrete work in the seating bowl, as well as the concourse areas. And then if you could advance to the next slide, please. And these are some additional photos that are a little bit closer, but up on the upper left, you could see the concrete that's been poured, and this is on the west side of the stadium where the premium clubs will be located. In the middle, you can begin to see how the seating bowl is taking shape. And then the remaining photos are really of some of the steel structures. And again, as a reminder, kind of the south end of the stadium is really where most of the back of the house activities will take place. And I'll pause here to see if there's any questions before we move on to the DBE update. Thank you. Okay, I believe actually we're turning it over to Mortensen Messer for the DBE update today. Thank you.
Good morning, this is Carol Greenlee. I'm going to do the DBE update for Mortensen Messer. Just a reminder, the DBE goal for this project is 30%. Currently, the DBE participation is at 37%. This translated into 83 DBE firms awarded approximately $72+ $1 million for work. Of this $72 million, about $15 million has been awarded to Davidson County-based firms, and a total of $41 million has been awarded to Tennessee-based firms. We've also provided a breakdown of DBE participation by category. 52% WBE, 40% MBE, and 8% SBE. Switching now to our workforce diversity goal. If you look at our diversity goals, Mortensen Messer have voluntarily established a workforce goal of 22% combined women and people of color on the project. Through January, and this report represents the end of January, project's hours total 114,397 work hours. The hours worked by women and people of color is about 42,397, which represents 37% workforce utilization. We remained engaged as the project progressed with local workforce development organizations to ensure workforce needs are communicated and opportunities for women and people of color are maximized. Kellen, that's our report. Appreciate the opportunity to present this to the board. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Carol.
Mary, thank you for that update. And Carol, we also thank you for providing us with the DBE information. Are there any questions from the board?
This is Glenn. Ms. Greenlee, the last meeting I had requested some of the subcontract information. Is that something you were able to track down or can get to us at some point?
Was that the subcontract information regarding 1099s? We do not have any.
All contractors, including independent contractors, like the number.
Director Farner, thank you for your question. This is Kellen DeCourcy with CAICon. I think, we looked into your requests. Unfortunately, there's only so much information that we're able to track and categorize as far as the Metro BAO DBE participation certification process is tracking for this project. So I don't think we're able to give you that information.
Does that include the information I asked for? I'm sorry, this is Melvin Gill. I requested some information too, specifically related to women-owned businesses. Does that include? Would that be the same reply for my request?
I'm not certain I recall that one, but I'm Carol. Did you looked into that one as well?
Yes, I did. Because our requirement reference certified SMWBEs, the certification process, we verify the certification process and we don't have access to the number of years these companies have been in business, but the certification process going normally require certification. One of the requirements for certification is that they be in business for 1 and some certifications 2 years before they are eligible to be certified. But the actual time frame that these businesses been in business, we do not have access to that information looking at their certification documents.
Is it possible to get that from procurement?
We can explore that possibility.
Okay.
Procurement BAO would only have access to the registration companies, which are the SBEs that they have on that goes through their process. A lot of the certifications are done by the state and other certifying agencies. So we can get the information that BAO, if they will allow us to we can ask them for that information regarding the SBE portion.
What about the other certification agencies? It would be a similar effort to get that information?
Yes, we would have to ask those other certifying agencies if they could provide us with that information.
What about the women-owned businesses? Would they be able to provide that information?
Those are national, like WeBank. We can ask their certifying agencies to provide that information, but I'm not sure they will provide it because they are national on, and I don't know exactly their privacy kind of regulations as it relates to their certifying bodies.
I was referring to the women-owned businesses that are participating on the project, if you can get that information from them.
We can surely ask them to provide that information.
Okay. Would you mind doing that, please?
Sure, we could proceed to ask that question for them.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, this is Margaret. I'm not sure why we're focusing on women-owned business. So Director Gill, do you want that information for all the DBE participants?
For what now?
For all the DBE participants. You want to
I was specifically requesting it for women-owned businesses.
Right, and I'm questioning why is that for just women-owned businesses and not for all DBE businesses?
The reason is due to the level of participation of women-owned businesses. And some of these businesses are well-established businesses, and I would like to know whether or not these businesses were started from ground up by women, or whether or not they were acquired through whatever means of acquisition. And that's why I am interested in that.
Well, I would be interested in that for all the DBE businesses. I don't know why we would just look at women.
Well, okay, you can request that. I was specifically requesting for women-owned businesses.
Well, I mean, if we're going to go this route, I think we should not just look at women. We should look at all of them.
Fine, then all of them.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Director Gill and Director Bing. Ms. Greenlee, if you would be willing to check into the availability of this information, request from both of our board of directors, and perhaps we can continue with this conversation at our next meeting. Would that be okay with you, Director Gill and Director Bing?
Sure.
Any other questions that we want to ask?
This is Glenn Farner. Mr. DeCourcy, are you saying that information about who the subcontractors more than just the awarded firms aren't available, or you can't get it, or
I think I was referring to the 1099 question you had asked last.
Well, it wasn't specifically to 1099. It was the subcontracts, first tier, second tier, third tier, that include any independent contracts as well. That was my request.
Okay, so to answer your question, as far as sub-tier contractors underneath some of the subcontractors, those figures are calculated into the DBE percentages. That's correct, Carol, correct?
That is correct.
So those numbers are included and captured, Director Farner.
Okay, but so the independent is in there as well, or any staffing agencies, their participation, all that's included?
Only the firms,
agencies?
I don't think the independent contractors are calculated, because I believe, and Carol, please correct me, but those are not the tracked or certified as part of the BAO's DBE certification that is tracked or accounted as part of the participation.
Okay, all I'm asking is, or maybe I'm requesting that we try to gather that information. So I don't know if it's part of the standard tracked portion. I'm just asking for it to be.
Sure, we can certainly look into that. I think what we're reporting on here is obviously the process that Metro has laid out for this contract with Mortensen Messer, and that is everything that we're reporting on that is available. Obviously, we do view this project as a success, given the participation, but we'll have to circle back on some of those different figures.
Thank you, Kevin.
No problem.
Any other questions? I certainly appreciate the questions and the dialogue, because DPE is not always as transparent as we like, and it's captured in many different ways. So I think the more information we can gather, the more knowledgeable we'll be about how this process is working. But we appreciate all of our partners for updating us. And if there are no additional questions, we'll move into our facility questions. Any questions for any of our facilities? If not, I'll just make a comment about the sounds. Recently, there's been some news about the Sounds and the Milwaukee Brewers, and I'd be curious to know if you have any comments around that.
This is Doug with the Sounds. Are you looking for me to comment?
Yes, we'd love to hear.
Well, sure. So a lot going on in our world. Actually, during this meeting, we Major League Baseball, in conjunction with us, announced our playing schedule for the coming season. We have a tentative opening date of April 6th, which will be 581 days since we previously hosted our last game due to obviously everything that happened in 2020. So we're excited to continue to work with the public health department and our partners at Major League Baseball to, identify player and fan safety restrictions, just like the other facilities and teams have that are on this call, and get up and running. We'll be at reduced capacity to start, but we're working through that, and we'll hopefully outline all of those details sometime in the month of March as we lead up to opening day. But to answer your question, Kathy, yes, we are now partnered with the Milwaukee Brewers moving forward. It's a 10-year agreement. For those that are not familiar, we previously were a Brewers affiliate for 10 years from 2005 through 2014. So a lot of familiarity. The other big change for us is Major League Baseball has realigned the minor leagues. And so previously we were in the Pacific Coast League, which had us playing a lot of teams on the West Coast. Now we're in what they're calling AAA East, and we'll get to play some teams and affiliates that we haven't previously seen. The Braves affiliate, the Reds affiliate, who else is local? So some other local teams that make a lot of geographic sense for us to play. So that'll be some new fun changes for us that you'll see this season and moving forward.
Well, thanks for that update, and it definitely sounds exciting. We're all looking forward to getting back together.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
This is Kim Adkins. When will you be able to release the schedule, Doug? That's great news, and April 6th can't come fast enough.
Yeah, so at 11 a.m., so 12 minutes ago, the schedule went out. We sent out a press release. It's probably on our website and social media. That will have our schedule. The game times are still being approved through baseball. I would assume we see game times sometime in the next week or two.
Awesome. That's great. It's good to have some good news. Thank you.
Thanks for that update, Doug. At this time, if there aren't any facilities questions, I'm gonna ask Burke Nyhill. Can you come on and just make a few comments?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. For those on the Finance Committee meeting earlier, this will sound familiar, but even though she's not on the line to hear it, because she's on a plane traveling back from Colorado, I did want to say a few words about Janine Kaufman in this forum. She has served the Tennessee Titans for 24 years, which is almost the entire existence of the Titans franchise in Tennessee. And it's not an understatement to say that really every good thing that has come out of our organization during that time has involved Janine's work and her just quality finance mind and her service-oriented approach to management. So we are going to miss her dearly, but are just so thankful for her time. And I know that if she was on, she would also thank all the board members for their investment in the Titans and Nissan Stadium. She has always particularly appreciated her role in working with the Sports Authority. So anyway, we will, of course, have updates in time about the representatives from the Titans who will start working on Sports Authority matters. But for today, just wanted to say those words about Janine.
Thank you, Burke. I was working with Janine for many years, and on behalf of the Sports Authority Board, I'd just like to say that her long-term contributions and commitments to the authority are greatly appreciated. We wish her the best in her future endeavors, and she'll definitely be missed. So best of luck to Janine. Any other comments? If not, this concludes our agenda. I'd like to thank the members of the board, Sports Authority staff, Metro Legal and Finance, our facility team representatives, and project managers for your input today. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, March 11th. Please note this is a week earlier than we usually meet. We're making this change in an effort to avoid our usual conflicts around spring break. We're still determining whether any committees will need to meet before March 11th, and if so, staff will communicate with you as soon as possible. Thank you for your time this morning. We had a really long meeting, our last meeting, so this might go on record as one of our shortest. I think we covered a lot of good information, and I thank everybody for your contributions. If there's no other business, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn. Well done, Madam Chair.
Second.
Is there a second?
Second.
Meeting adjourned. Great training, former Madam Chair. Thank you. Everybody be safe. Thank you. Have a good day.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information about this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.